waiting for Wilhelmina? She's at the hospital. Oh no, I'm waiting for her too. I miss her, baby. I'm waiting by her house. Hopefully she'll come home soon. It's, I think it's almost midnight, and I know I'm not going to be able to sleep very well. I have 2 rabbits, and my female rabbit was running like a rocket ship today, which was fun until she dislocated her leg from her hip, so she's been limping. Otherwise, other than that, she's actually totally fine, which is surprising, but we decided to leave her at the hospital to be monitored until she has surgery tomorrow with an orthopedic surgeon for animals. And I think everything will be okay, but the dread I feel waiting is quite difficult. But I thought that it would be easier, or less difficult at least, than bringing her home and just having her limp for the rest of her life and not be able to use her left leg at all. And the idea of waiting for her to eat and then letting her limp around and hope that the pain medication would work just seemed like a much worse situation to go through. So we decided to just try to make sure she heals and is able to use her leg again. And I hear that it's a regular surgery. It's not often done on rabbits just because not many people have their rabbits go through this. But apparently it's very common for cats and dogs to go through this. She's running really, really like the speed of lightning, and then suddenly the next time I checked on her, it was very obvious that something wasn't right. So I'm glad that I noticed really fast before she stopped eating for a much longer period of time, and I'm glad that the hospital didn't seem worried at all. There's definitely an ethical or moral question of how much time, energy, and money do you really give pets that aren't human. If you hear a sound, that's Vincent, my other rabbit, enjoying his sticks and his house. Oh, he's back in his house now. Oh, hi. Anyway, and at first we were thinking maybe we won't do the surgery because she can adapt to using 3 legs, but then when I saw her, I just broke down, and I just couldn't imagine not at least trying this time. If it doesn't go well, or if it's too much for her, they don't think it'll be, but if it doesn't go well or it's too much for her, then I guess I'll just know for next time. We also discussed, my husband and I also discussed how much money do you really pour into a rabbit when you could give that to care for a human in the future if we ever have a baby, or if we ever have a dog who is, you could argue ethically, is more conscious, or maybe the same consciousness, who knows. My rabbit that's in my house right now is so smart that I really think he's like a dog. I don't know. It's hard to say, so I just tried to go with my gut, and my gut told me that if I brought her home with a limp and just waited and waited all night, and maybe the next day until she finally ate, it just wouldn't feel right to me. But I could totally see an argument for just letting her be, and I would never blame anyone who did, because veterinary costs for rabbits, at least in my country, are very, very scary. So, yeah, that is my update. That's why I can't sleep. But it reminds me of those times in my 20s when, actually, there were a lot of nights when I couldn't sleep. Probably over things that I wouldn't care about now. Probably over things that didn't matter, but mattered to me so much back then. And I think it's also just, it depends too. Some nights are amazing and I'm up, but my mind is energetic and I'm moving furniture quietly as much as I can, because in New York we have many neighbors. At least I think everyone does. So sometimes it's great, and sometimes I'm thinking of new ideas and writing them down and brainstorming and dreaming of the future and feel inspired and feel so grateful and look out the window finally, instead of procrastinating doing that and just resting and then going blank in a good way. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes there are nights when I've stayed up because I'm waiting for something that may be out of my control, but I'm waiting and waiting and waiting because I don't know what's going to happen. I think the worst example of that in my life, I feel like I can share this with you because we're friends, is actually when Matt was thinking about breaking up with me. And now we're happily married, and thankfully everything is amazing. But there was a moment when I was going through a lot of problems with dating, and I just had this very, very intense phobia of relationships, to the point where there were maybe it was even a week or two. It was definitely more than just a couple days or a couple nights. I think it was maybe a week or two. And every day and every night I had trouble sleeping, I think. And my body was just not functioning properly in so many different ways. And that was the worst. That was the worst time of my entire life. And so now that I've been through that, I feel like I can do anything, I can get through anything. But I love my rabbits like little kids. I don't have a human kid yet, but I love them like my babies. They are babies to me. And so it's not easy, but in a weird way, because I've been through so much worse waiting at night, I feel like I'll get through this. But I think it's also because the hospital actually told me that they're not that worried. So it's that too, but thankfully, overall, I don't have as many nights anymore where I'm just up and not sleeping. But this reminds me of those nights some nights I would just sit and cry. Not always in a bad way. Sometimes I would just find that my body needed to. Anyway, I took out some things for you in case you're up at night too. That might cheer you up. That's what I'm here for. I need to sit up for a second. So I took out some, not very many books, but a little tiny selection of books that make me feel better, that might help you. This is very universally helpful. This is, in conclusion, don't worry about it. Yeah, I like this one. This you may have never heard of. This is a children's book. It's called I Want My Hat Back. It has so many different layers of meaning for a children's book. And then, okay, so the other books that make me feel better probably won't make you feel better, but I have to admit that these are the books that make me feel better because it's good to be honest. So they are my rabbit books. Oh, I have quite a few. I have Rabbit Breeds. Okay. I have the new Rabbit Handbook, which is obviously not new anymore. I mean, it was new when it came out, but it's not new now. It came out in 1989. This is Story's Guide to Raising Rabbits. And then finally, this is Raising Happy Rabbits. I love rabbits. I don't know why exactly. It doesn't fully make sense, but I guess it's kind of like how I love New York. It doesn't really make sense. Why would someone live in a place like this? But I love it. I hope you do something you really love tonight. And I hope that you have a better night than I do. Every night. And I hope that you're always happier than me too. And, okay, good night. Good night.